You know, for an evening that started out so badly, it has definite possibilities. No. Before you drink, you must always say salud.
Salud.
You know,
Salud.
Salud.
You know, on second thought.
Yes?
I really can't stay.
Baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away.
Baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has been
Hoping that you drop
so
in.
very nice.
I'll hold your hands. They're just like ice.
My mother will start to worry.
Beautiful, what's your
My
hurry?
father will be pacing the floor.
Listen to the fireplace
So
roar.
really, I'd better scurry.
Beautiful, please don't
Well,
hurry.
maybe just a half a drink more.
Put some records on while I pour.
The neighbors might
But
think.
baby, it's bad out there.
Say, what's in this
No
drink?
cabs to be had out there.
I wish I knew how.
Your eyes are like stars
to
right now.
break this spell.
I'll take your hat. Your hair looks
I
swell.
ought to say no,
Mind
sir.
if I move in closer?
At least I'm gonna say that I tried.
What's the sense of hurting my
I
pride?
really can't
Oh,
stay.
baby, don't hold out, baby.
Oh, but
it's cold
outside. I simply must go.
Baby, it's cold outside.
The answer is
But
no.
baby, it's cold outside.
The welcome has
How
been
lucky that you dropped
so
in.
nice and warm.
Look out the window at that
My
storm.
sister will be
Gosh,
suspicious.
your lips look
My
delicious.
brother will be there at the door.
Waves up on a tropical
My
shore.
maiden aunt's mind is vicious.
Gosh, your lips are delicious.
Or maybe just a cigarette more.
Never such a blizzard before.
I've got to get
But
home.
baby, you'd freeze out there.
Say, lend me a
It's
coat.
up to your knees out there.
You've really been
I
grand.
thrill when you touch my
But
hand.
don't you see?
How can you do this thing to me?
There's bound to be talk tomorrow.
Think of my lifelong
At
sorrow.
least there will be plenty implied.
If you got pneumonia and
I
die,
really can't
get
stay.
over that old doubt, baby.
Oh, but it's cold outside.
I really can't
But
stay.
baby, it's cold outside.
I've got to go away.
Baby, it's cold outside.
This evening has
Been
been
hoping that you'd drop
so
in.
very nice.
I'll hold your hands. They're just like
My
ice.
mother will start to worry.
Beautiful, what's your
And
hurry?
father will be pacing the floor.
Listen to the fireplace
So
roar.
really, I'd better scurry.
Beautiful, please don't hurry.
Maybe just a little drink more.
Put some records on while I pour.
The neighbors might
But baby,
think.
it's bad out there.
Say what's in this
No
drink.
cabs to be had out there.
I wish I knew
Your
how
eyes are like stars
to
right
break
now.
the spell.
I'll take your hat. Your hair looks
I ought to say no,
Mind if I
senor.
move in
At
close?
least I'm going to say that I tried.
What's the sense of hurting my
I
pride?
really can't
Oh,
stay.
baby, don't hold out,
Oh,
baby.
but it's cold outside. You simply must go.
Baby, it's cold outside.
The answer is
But
no.
baby, it's cold outside.
The greeting has
You're
been
lucky that I dropped
so
in.
nice and warm.
Look out the window at that
Your
store.
sister will be suspicious.
Gosh, your lips look
Your
delicious.
brother will be there at the door.
Waves upon a tropical shore.
Your maiden aunt's mind is vicious.
Gosh, your lips are delicious.
Maybe just a cigarette
Never
more.
such a blizzard before.
You've got to go
But
home.
baby, I'd freeze out there.
I'll lend you my
It's
comb.
up to my knees out there.
You've really been grand,
Thrill when you touch my.
but don't you see?
How can you do this thing to me?
There's bound to be talk tomorrow.
Think of your lifelong
At least there will be plenty implied.
If I caught pneumonia and died,
really can't
get
stay.
over that old doubt,
Oh,
baby.
but it's cold outside.
This is not me saying feminism is.
Shut up, Tim. Sorry about that. Sorry for the late start, guys. Welcome to the Confiscate Art stream. My name is Brian, and it is Lazy Sunday, but I got a late start because I was doing another stream, but more importantly, you know, if you do digital work, every so often, I don't know why this is. If you do digital work and you use a tablet, a Cintiq, it doesn't matter if it's a Cintiq or an Intuos or whatever. Whether it's a screen you draw on, or it's a tablet that you're using. Every so often, your pen pressure will just go away, and you have to basically like reinstall the drivers and reboot your machine. That's why I was late. Mainly, I had to reboot the machine because my drivers just said, nah, you know, we're not doing this anymore. And it's a pain. It's a pain. So, you guys know the song you just heard was Baby It's Cold Outside. This is actually the original from the film Neptune's Daughter. It's a 1949 musical romantic comedy film released by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. And it's actually interesting because I chose this one even though the volume on it was low. I don't know why that was. Sometimes people just do uploads with low-ass volume. But I chose this version instead of some of the other ones because, for one, it has Ricardo Montalban in the first half singing. But the main reason was I didn't know this until I watched this clip. But they actually do the song twice and they swap the sexes. So first it's the man trying to get the woman to stay, but then it's the woman trying to get the man to stay in another situation with two different actors, you know, two different characters. And I was like, wow, that's an interesting factoid that was left the fuck out in all of this hoopla over, you know, how rapey this song is. So, in honor of it being December, I thought I would play some wintry music. Yeah, I also had to reinstall the Allison driver, yeah. So, anyway, that's the song that you're currently listening to. I'm also listening to a sort of a holiday stream right now. Jazzy Christmas music. So, if you don't like Christmas music, well then maybe you want to avoid this stream. But I don't think you should let that control your actions and choices. The image you're looking at is a portrait of Pantheon. It's one of my other characters. I was trying to do something that looked a little bit. When I did this, I was trying to do a look that appeared to be more animated look. You know, like if she was animated, it might look like this. Sort of a, you know, I guess like a higher end animation, higher than say television. That is. So that's Pantheon. Anyway, so I'm gonna get back to work now. I think everything is fixed. Looks like, and so I'm happy about that. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to try to finish what I started. So how are you guys doing? Baby It's Cold Outside gets attacked every Christmas, says Troy Davidson. It's a holiday tradition. Yeah, and I think it is. I think it's just like, okay, you know, they just want the song removed. And you know what? It doesn't end with that, obviously. If they ever get it removed, then they're just going to move on to something else. They're going to try and ban Mariah Carey's All I Want for Christmas Is You. You know? Because they think, oh, it's a woman that just, you know, she doesn't exist without a man. And I'm telling you, they're going to come for that. There's no end. There's never an end to this shit. So. All right. So I was refining the hat. Downtown will be next. Why? What song do you think they're gonna come for next? It's gonna be a gross and rainy winter. Temperatures are rising here in Germany just in time for December. And then it's gonna be what? Bald, freezingly cold mid-January? Yeah. January is always worse for us here in Chicago. Netflix will probably come for Gundam next. Netflix adaptations. Do you guys hear about them doing Cowboy Bebop? That shit's gonna be crap. A live action Cowboy Bebop? Really? Like, this is like literally on the list of things nobody asked for. Why? If something is already good in its original form, why would you need to change? Why would you need to update it? I had a crush on Ed. Well, get ready. Get ready for that. Get that Netflix adaptation meme ready, because I'm sure it's going to be fucking gold. Redubbing Evangelion? Why? Because Downtown says about finding something that can cheer you up when you're lonely instead of blaming men and claiming victimhood. Yeah, it's also like that sounds pro-capitalist to me. Can't have that. They need to cast Danny Sexbang as Spike. Who the hell is Danny Sexbang, and is that his real name? Danny Sexbang's a dude from Ninja Party. It's all about the Jew, and he's got the Jew. You don't know. You don't know about the Sexbang. No, I don't particularly care about the Ninja Party thing. So I guess that's why I don't know about the Sexbang. All right. Let's see. Look how this looks with the other one. Yeah, it looks good. It's just a parody band. Ninja Sex Party, John's replacement on Game Grumps. Okay. Mr. and Mrs. Sex Bang, then on Danny. Their son, Danny. Got it. Alright. Go ahead and start on this one now. Reduce the thing. We'll make these two disappear because they are kind of in the way. It's okay, Bri. I never remember Dan from Game Grumps. Is also Danny Sex Bang, even though my son has mentioned his many a time. Okay. Sorry, I didn't know. I didn't know nothing about it. So, what's going on? What's new in the world of whatever? So I found a war bond today, my parents' old things. Really? Is that worth anything? I wonder. So that's cool to me. Let's make this smaller. Not much. There's some annoying NPC-ness amongst my colleagues at work, but I keep to myself during lunch hour anyways. What kind of NPC-ness? Like Orange Man bad? Migrant Caravan good? They're literally killing them with tear gas? Like what are they talking about? It's a $50 war bond purchased in 1944. It's an E-series. Apparently it reaches final interest maturity in 1991 or something, so it's worth $200 odd. Well, that's not bad. Richard says, I got to meet the mayor last Friday. Mayor Sadiq Khan, right? Are you in London? What did you do? Did you just meet him? Say what's up? Did you tell him you're not... Did you make sure to tell him you're not carrying any knives or spoons or forks or anything that could pose a threat to people around you? Not even sporks. Urashima, well, after reuniting with my estranged father a few weeks ago, wow, I am also reuniting with his side of the family on the 25th. Wow. Are you excited, scared, angry? What was your meeting like? Was it okay? Hearth-hewn paladin, not much. Okay. Okay, so all the stuff I said, and being woke about how horrible we've been indigenous people. Ugh. Are you in Canada? I think you're in Canada, right? You guys are always apologizing for the indigenous people. It's constant. Urashima, probably not going to tell my mom. No need for that drama. Just told her that I am unavailable on the 25th. Okay. So you think it's going to be drama? There's some shit going on. How long has it been since you've seen your dad? Or have you just never seen him? Or how long has it been? The Greenwich mayor, not Khan. Oh, okay. Too bad. The mayor is female. All right. Well, City Khan could be female. I'm not assuming anybody's gender. Vancouver. Oh yeah, we did meet in GG like back when Lauren Southern was there, right? That was when I first met Lauren Southern. I suspect now that she's is busy doing other shit, and I'm probably not gonna meet her again. So I'm gonna be talking to a Vice reporter tomorrow. I need to like get my ducks in a row for that. The meeting was good. Told me that his second marriage was falling apart, and by now it actually has. He keeps the kid and the house. You won, they lost. Get over it. I don't know what that's related to. You guys are having your own conversation there. I'm 31 now, so I think our last meeting was 15 years ago or so. Wow. Because it's a war bond and not a savings bond, I think I might want to hold on to it for a collector, but it might not be worth anything since it has names. If it was blank, different story. You mean like it has names on it, so for like cashing in purposes? Because a collector might be interested. It might depend on who. I guess it might depend on whose name is on it. Vice is cancer. Yeah, it is. ABR? I don't know what that... ABR, I'm not sure what that stands for. Yep, Lauren and Theron, who I see occasionally on the bus. I think she knows who I am, pretends not to know me, but that's fine. Wow. No way. Do you think that Theron would... I met Theron at MythCon, and she seemed cool with me. And that wasn't long ago. That was like literally like, what, 2 months ago? I know that Theron's been like, you know, hanging around with, or at least like talking a lot with ContraPoints and shit. But, I don't know, maybe she'll figure that out at some point. It's got my grandparents' names on it and a stamp from the government to approve it as being sold, I think. Always be recording, yeah. Well, it's gonna be a live show. So... I'll get some help from the research people because I don't know what's gonna come up, right? Funny how I only have half siblings. Oh, I do too. Yeah, man, my parental well, I have full siblings, but I have a lot of half siblings. My parents background, like the story behind them and me is weird. Maybe not atypical for a Hispanic family though. I don't know. But I didn't learn about it till recently. They never told me. I had to figure all that shit out on my own. Maybe I'll tell you guys sometime. Wild Allison appears. Yeah. I see it. Well, we whiteys also managed to get some messy family situations going. I'm pretty sure that there is no racial factor at all. It's just, there's just dysfunctional families and then there's functional families. You know, I hate injecting the race thing into, or ethnicity, because Puerto Rican's not a race. Into these conversations. I don't think they belong. I think they're an intentional distraction. Intentional. Like, there was a guy on Twitter who is a black guy, and he talks a lot about anti-feminism and stuff, you know, and how it relates to the black community. Now, of course, you know, the black community do have a lot of issues that are the consequence of a rampant feminist movement. But the thing is that when you want to discuss these issues, I don't think that it's helpful to frame it as a uniquely black problem, because when you do that, you are missing the forest from the trees. You're like, you don't see that it's a problem for everyone. It's a people problem. You know, even if it is worse for the black community, or I wouldn't even say it's worse. I'd say it's affecting them first. Sorry for the music thing on the patron show. No, it's fine. Say sexy taters, Brian. I just did. You know what I mean? So like, they were just the first targets. Yeah, it's affecting everyone. And, you know, somebody might say it's by design. I don't care about that. I don't want to create a victim hierarchy, even on the side of, like, you know, anti-feminism. I don't want to do that. I think it's important. I think they find the problem. And I think you solve it better by creating a unifying, by looking at the unifying properties, let's put it that way, of it, than just sort of like prioritizing. Oh, you know, let's address the problem within the black community because it's affecting them more. Well, then you're just going to ignore it in every other community and going to let those things get worse. What are you going to do? Like tell, you know, white children of single mothers that, you know, you can't deal with their problems right now because they're privileged in other ways. There are just people who are being victimized, and then there are, you know, people who are victimizing. It doesn't. I don't think that like adding the racial component is helpful, and I don't think it's actually the most important part. It's the man part. So like, okay, so I'm sorry, I got a little off track. So there's this guy that that follows me on Twitter, and occasionally he sends stuff to me and Allison and the Honey Badger Radio thing, whatever. And he sent this video clip of a dude making a confession of something when he was in his 20s, when he was 20 years old. And he's like this, you know, pretty tough talking, like, looked like a hip hop guy, you know. And he's telling the story that exposes his vulnerability. You know, when he was 20 years old, there was a woman who was 30, a friend of his mother's, who raped him. She like sexually pulled his pants down and forced a blowjob on him. And he knew her. She was a friend of his mother's, right? And she told him to keep it a secret. And this woman was married. And he was spending the night at that house. I think they had like a, you know, he had a friend there or something, right? I just know in the middle. And this guy's telling a story about, you know, he was a virgin up until that point. So she stole his, in a way, right? And for all we know, it set him on the path that, you know, he went on. Like, you know, if there was any, I mean, clearly it did. It had an effect on his future, right? So your mic is cutting out a bit. It might be because I'm Control-Zing sometimes, and that causes that to happen. So I apologize. I don't think about that. I forget often. So, like, do you guys need me to start over? Yeah. No, and it's not Discord. It's I'm just on YouTube. I'm not using Discord. It's just that when I Control-Z, it doesn't mute the microphone that I know of.
Well, it must, because why are people saying that?
Well, I think that doing that causes the computer to skip, because it's like it's doing. I don't think I'm muting.
Maybe it's a shortcut in like Chrome or something.
No, it was fine. We heard most of it. Okay. I wasn't listening. Well, I could try another experiment. Let me see. Well, I'm going to continue. So, this guy tells a story, and I share it out. And I'm like, okay, you know, because I'm being asked to retweet it by this dude. And the original poster, so this guy shared it with me, but he's not the guy who originally posted it. The original poster of the video is also not the guy in the video. Okay? It's on my Twitter. I tried to retweet it. I did retweet it. And well, and you'll see. Might not be able to see it. Okay? So the guy who shared it with me said, you know, this is important. You should see this. Maybe share it out, right? And I think it is, right? It's a man, you know, exposing his vulnerability, right? And his experience. The dude who shared it, however, he framed it in the context of this is a problem because black men, okay? And I was not a fan of that, even if it's kind of true. What I mean is that he basically frames it like black men are not taken seriously if they, if they come forward about being raped, or if they, like try to essentially talk about their feelings, these kind of things, right? Because in the black community, or not even that, I don't think he said in the black community anything. I think he just said black men are less likely to, right? But the thing is, my point is that when I read it, I don't have all the data, but I was looking at everything that he said about black men. And the fact is, all of those things are true no matter what the race of the man is. So it's not about race. It's about men. Right? It's about men. And the thing is, I'm getting tired of people who are allowed to reframe a discussion that is about men and make it about a certain kind of man, because it distracts from the fact that it's men. It distracts from the fact that it's men that we're talking about. You know? And I think that's on purpose. And I think it's sort of like baked into people to do that. I don't even think that this guy who was basically saying this about black men, I don't think he was consciously trying to derail anything. I think that he's been conditioned to believe that when something affects black men, it has to be because they're black. And more about that than the fact that they're men. And I think that is the conditioning. That's part of it. Right? That is how we're supposed to view this. Even if it's somewhat true that black men are a special case. I wouldn't even say that, though. I'd say maybe there's a more extreme case to be made. Sure. But that doesn't mean it doesn't affect all men. Or not all men, but men of all races. You know? And it bugged me, so I said something. I said, you know, the descriptor black, the adjective black, isn't necessary for you to talk about this issue, because this simply affects men. This is a problem that affects men, not just black men, uniquely. And the dude blocked me. Or he protected his tweets from me, which is basically blocking me, right? And other black men that were in that thread got angry with me, and they said, you're missing the point, and one guy openly admitted, he said, it's identity politics. Like, not criticizing this original statement, saying that it's useful because it's identity politics. It's almost like they're saying, for the sake of expediency, we're gonna do this. We're gonna talk about it in this context. And it bugged me too, because I was talking with a friend of mine who also defended. He was like, well, it is true in the black community. Like, there's this macho thing that, you're supposed to have. And I'm like, but that doesn't change my point. My point is that these problems are not black problems. They're male problems. And when you try to make them into black problems or Hispanic problems or whatever, you never address the root. Because you never put the lens, you don't put the focus on where it needs to be. People are focusing on the fact that it's black. So what's going to happen? They're going to make arguments for systematic racism. They're going to make arguments for white supremacy. They're going to make arguments for everything other than sympathizing with men. It's not going to help. And it's really frustrating. I'll go to the tweet here. I'll read it out to you. I got blocked for it, so. Let's see here. I'm gonna try. I gotta scroll back a bit. Yeah, so I'm gonna see here. So I said, so he shares the video. And by the way, the guy who blocked me, his fucking name on Twitter is I debate only my equals, all others I teach. Oh, so you teach people by blocking them? Nice. And then, so he says, we ignore the victimization of black boys and reduce their behaviors to pathological tropes of toxicity. How is that a black thing? That's a man thing. We know relatively nothing of the lives of black men because we tend only to study them numerically through death. How is that a black thing? That's men. He's talking about men, not black men. Just men. Whether, like, if you just change where this is focused in the world, it's still true of men. So this is like this African American focused view of the world is limiting his ability to get the word out And the fact that he cannot get out of his own head and see the world beyond his blackness is part of the problem. And that is the conditioning. He has been conditioned to do that. Black people have been conditioned to see everything that affects them and everything that they do a product of their blackness and nothing else. And most of them buy into it. So then I say, the adjective black isn't needed. Boys in general go through this. Nothing wrong with this statement, okay? But people got really upset. One guy says, this data explicitly pertains to black people, which doesn't refute my point. Maybe the data is incomplete. Another guy says, at this point, it's not even obvious. The information is literally in front of him. Like, I just have to soak it up because it's there. I'm not educating myself. And I said, yes, but my point is, the issue you are speaking of is across the male gender. If you limit the scope to blacks, you will not get anything addressed because at the end of the day, it comes back around. Even if you start to get it addressed within the black community itself, they will not do it because there are men suffering. They will do it because there are blacks suffering. And at the end of the day, that will prioritize black women over black men. That's why you have a narrative of toxicity around black men, because they're a threat to women, according to the narrative, right? Then this guy says, the only way you get anything addressed is to limit the scope to black men. Identity politics, he admits it, okay? If you actually read the thread thoroughly, instead of being turned off by the word black, you'd understand why it was necessary, implying that I'm being racist by saying, how about all men, right? And I said, if the same thing is true of men of all colors, nationalities, and ethnic groups, everything that this guy is saying is true of men from everywhere. So why don't they matter? And he says, talking about a problem backed by specific statistics pertaining to an unrepresented group does not take value away from another group. No one said they don't matter. But there's far deeper historical context to this problem with black versus men of all colors, nationalities, etc. And another guy says, don't be that person. So I'm being told that because my progressive stack and my historical racism, this is a product of that, right? And then somebody else says, if that's the only thing you can say after all that, you need to go castrate yourself. But we need to talk about the problems facing men. I'm literally being told to cut my own balls off because I'm not towing the line. But these guys care about men. Really? This is why nothing gets done. And in particular with the black community, because they cannot see past their blackness. They can't. Zerank says, the use of identity politics with black men just hasn't been properly implemented yet. We'll get it right eventually. That's why I sometimes don't get involved in the cases. I don't want to use identity politics. We don't need to use blackness. We don't need to. If we can't get people to sympathize with men by virtue of them simply being men, then we may as well stop because it's never going to get done. If you only fix it because they're black, then you're not actually fixing it. You're just putting a band-aid on it because it's blackness. You're not dealing with the man part. We have to see them as men. And we have to see that that is important. It's crucial. It's more important than them being black. Far more important. If a black man doesn't have his blackness, then what does he have? Same thing with black women. They've been conditioned to think that that is all they have. That's everything. In those situations, I sometimes want to pull out the disruptor and say that in terms of race, black men are the women. White people have to placate us and we complain ad nauseum. Black men are the white people of black people. Black Lives Matter has said this plenty of times. The Root has said it too. Black men are only useful to black people as far as it will raise up black women. They don't actually care about black men because they're men still. This same identity politics victim card is the same in any culture that accepts the soft bigotry of low expectations. Yeah. Paladin, naturally it jeopardizes their achievements more like just achievements in the oppression Olympics. Troy Davidson, it's because deep inside he knows calling them men has way less of an impact than if you call them black. Yeah. How ironic at that last one. I know. This is why we can't have nice things. We was zero-sum games and shit. The thing is, if you win, all you win is the suffering. They think they can extort empathy from other people by winning the big suffering contest and make them feel better, but it doesn't work. You should talk to Tommy S. You mean Tommy Sotomayor? I'd love to. I think that even Tommy focuses a little bit too much on the blackness, personally. He's still in that cage. You know, it's frustrating, man, because it's like you're never gonna get anything you're doing. I'm gonna go away, guys, till about 15, so like 10 more minutes because I started late. So thanks for everything. We but that was to talk much because Allison and Karen and everybody was like running a train on him, and I was like just kind of like watching and shit. So, but I was new still. That was a while ago. So yeah, man, it's just like whenever there is empathy for people of color, minority people and shit, it becomes like the minority thing becomes like a tactical thing that's trying to like get empathy through the victimization of the minority group. But the problem is that doesn't actually address the problem, because the minority, look, the threat narratives around blacks and Muslims and, you know, Hispanics or whatever, it's all based on gender stuff. And I'm not saying it's completely baseless, but you can't actually have a real conversation about that until you like see that what's happening, right? Did you message Sticks yet? No, I'm sorry, I didn't. I have my I will. Because I have a couple of fireside chats in the queue, and I guess I don't want to message Sticks and be like, are you available in 4 weeks? I'd rather wait until it's like 2 weeks out, so. You mean colored people, right? Whatever. I don't know. Yeah. Blacks. Hispanics, not even Asians. I don't know. I guess we haven't really made a threat narrative around them because, you know, Middle Eastern men. Troy Davidson, I'm gonna be super autistic about this till the end of time. I'll get him on. I hope. It's kind of up to him at the end of the day, right? So apparently Kilroy is doing another event in 2019. I don't know if you guys know that. Whew. Asians are polite, they can stay. Whites. Funny. Lol, Kilroy. Yeah, I know. It's gonna be another one. Kilroy 2019, what could go wrong? They shouldn't go. You guys should go to ICMI. ICMI 2019. It's gonna be dope. And the MRM has actually pulled off events, so we have a history of like getting shit done. I thought Kilroy died, he was there, and then he wasn't. Yeah, I don't know. I don't get along with black people. Aren't you black, Richard? Wait, did I get a sub? Was that a sub? Exploding Prinny at work. Kilroy sent an email a few months back to solicit for VIP. Haven't heard anything since. Where were you when Kilroy was kill? Killed Roy. Kill Rip. I was actually for a little while in the very beginning, like right after VidCon, I was involved with Kilroy. I was really excited to be a part of it. Okay, yeah. I thought you were black. I know you. I met you. They keep calling me fake black. Yes, because blacks police their culture. Because again, they take that blackness so seriously. Like, I mean, I've never seen, well, okay, Hispanics do it too, to a degree. They have this thing where you can't just be black, but you have to act black. And that's not imposed on from white people. That's from black people inside, right? Like, I've seen this where, you know, I have black friends. I had this one that please take that out of context. I have black friends, Brian 2018. But I knew this guy. I knew a couple of guys, and they would all do this, right? They'd be like talking to me, and they talk just the way I'm talking to you right now, you know? Like a normal, I guess, you know, what normal American would sound like. And then they get around like family members or friends from the hood, and all of a sudden they're talking different. They talk like them. And I'm like, well, how do you, like, which way are you supposed to talk? You know, what's your normal manner of speech? I forget what they call it. I think it's called coding or something. It's when you talk like black people when you're around black people. Like, talk ghetto. Like, that's how you're supposed to talk. It's strange. It's like, well, why don't you just... Hispanics do it too. You know, they expect you to know Spanish. They expect you to have an accent. They expect you to like the same things that Hispanics are supposed to like. And I'm not that way. And I've actually... Because I don't speak Spanish, right? And I've actually had strangers who are Hispanic approach me because they think I speak Spanish and they want to ask me a question. And so they would do it in Spanish, and I'd say, I'm sorry, I don't speak Spanish. And they'd look at me like I just fucking killed their dog in front of them. Just like shocked, right? Ebonics is the name of the language, but I'm talking about the behavior of changing the way you talk when you're around black people. Yes, well, I wouldn't say that you talk white, Richard, but I would say you just talk like another Londoner. But I do think that that is what bugs them. And I think it's shitty. You know? It's shitty to me. I'm skeptical of Ebonics being a language. It's dialect at most. Yeah, it's Southern. That's all. People in the South talk like that. I think blacks have like tried to make it into something bigger than it is. It's just a Southern way of speaking. It's like slang. A dialect at most. I'll give it that, yeah. And it's like, but why, you know? That's absolutely what happens, though. I don't like that line. All right. There's an Irish influence too, actually. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. 1:15. Okay, well, I gotta go, but I got about this far, so let's zoom out. I actually like this pose. That arm might be too long. I might move it. But, yeah, Ebonics is the language of the land. I mean, it's the law of the land. The Pope says stand up. All right. Anyway, so let's see what we got here. I'll read a couple more comments and I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Okay, my parents do that with white people. Yeah, okay. Well, that's weird. Shaman King, MGTOW calls it ghosting, but the principle is the same. You talk like the dominant culture to avoid confrontation. Right. Why would you do that with your fucking family members? They're gonna, like, call you out? I honestly believe that there is a culture of, within the Black and Hispanic community that not only should people speak like them, and also be culturally like similar, like they kind of like encourage a homogeneity within their culture and race. Well, I would say that being black is a cultural thing in more ways than it is a race thing, actually, because a lot of times like white people get to be honorary blacks if they're hood enough, if they represent enough. It's like hood culture is what I'm getting at. And I forgot what I was gonna say. Yeah, so it's like, why it's ironic because it's more of a cultural thing than a race thing, and it's enforced from within the community. And not only do they want people to act like that and you know, have those sort of interests and share those interests, right? And everything, but they also don't like it when people succeed. They don't want people to succeed. They want people to stay, you know, in the hood. They don't want people to get out. It's like the crabs in the bucket. And that's a real thing. It really is. All right. I can actually 100% see Irish influencing Ebonics. The way Ebonics and Irish slur their words together is very similar. I watched a vid of some black woman going out on about 6 reasons why black women should date white men. I went straight to the comments and it was black woman after black woman shitting on black men. Yeah, that's very common. And thirsty white males looking for black queens. Lol. Queens. I don't know why most black women aren't attractive, personality or physically. Well, personality is a cultural thing, I think, for the most part. But black women do have more testosterone than most women. Blacks have more testosterone. And so the black women tend to look a little bit more mannish. And Asians have the lowest testosterone, which is why the men tend to look a little feminine. And the Asian girls are like, you know, they're basically like God tier women. So, on average. There's exceptions, you know, and all that, but there's a specific type of black woman I'm attracted to. Okay. Just a dark-skinned Asian. Blackanese. Talking about the Blackanese women. Other people's successes make them feel inadequate. Yeah, it's Cain and Abel. His reasoning was black women married to white men last longer than any other marriage. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. Her reasoning, right. Wouldn't that be forced unity? That doesn't sound healthy. No. Nope. Yeah, that's people shouldn't be, I don't know. I mean, that's weird. Okay, anyway, I gotta go meet with folks. I'll talk to you guys very soon. Thanks for coming on the stream. Sorry I was late. And yeah, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel, and be sure to hit the notifications bell so you know when my video goes live eventually. I've been Brian. Thanks for coming on again. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.